This is the last of our recordings this year. 9 days, 9 lessons, 9 carols from Launde Abbey. If we think back to this time last year, at the end of 2020, around this time, as we all went into lockdown again, Giles Fraser tweeted, "Christmas is God's act of solidarity with us in a time of darkness. That cannot ever be cancelled, not by Herod, not by anyone. Perhaps it makes more sense this year than ever before." So here we are again, not locked down, but still trapped, still disorientated, still anxious, waiting again to see what will happen next. Christmas is God's act of solidarity with us in a time of darkness. I echo these sentiments, realizing that it is perhaps when we are most aware of darkness, personally, nationally, that Christmas makes the most sense. The first Christmas happened amidst chaos and disruption. The census imposed by those who governed would have meant plans and lives disrupted, people displaced, no choice but to take on the risks of an unfamiliar journey. And then the world became even more dark and dangerous as the Holy Family became refugees just after the birth. This year, however we celebrate or not, we cannot cancel Christmas any more than we can cancel the presence of God in our lives. Jesus, Emmanuel, is the God who is with us, even now, especially now. Even if you're on your own this Christmas, and I don't underestimate the importance of human companionship, even if you're on your own, you are not alone. The light and love of God, born into the darkness of our world 2,000 years ago in Jesus, is still here in the darkness and chaos and uncertainties of our world today. We feel the weight of those for whom this Christmas is particularly dark and difficult. But we also celebrate that the darkness is the place where we meet with God, where we find the light already dwelling, and the darkness cannot overcome it. I'm reading from the Gospel of John. In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God. He was in the beginning with God. All things came into being through him, and without him not one thing came into being. What has come into being in him was life, and the life was the light of all people. The light shines in the darkness, and the darkness did not overcome it. He was in the world, and the world came into being through him, yet the world did not know him. He came to what was his own, and his own people did not accept him. But to all who received him, who believed in his name, he gave power to become children of God, who were born not of blood, nor of the will of the flesh, nor of the will of man, but of God. And the Word became flesh and lived among us. And we have seen his glory, the glory as of a Father's only Son, full of grace and truth. This reading, this carol, reassert for us that God of God, light of light, did not, does not shield himself in a spiritual quarantine, but chooses to expose himself to the rawness of human life. Christmas is God's act of solidarity with us in a time of darkness. Christmas can also be our act of solidarity with each other. If Christmas is dark and difficult for you this year, please reach out to someone. And if not, then call someone who might need to hear a friendly voice. The light in the darkness shines at least in part because, in the manner of Christingle oranges, once our candle is lit, we can light up the candles of those around us. And so, today, Christmas Eve, in the last of these 9 days, 9 lessons, 9 carols reflections, this is my prayer for you. May the Father, who has loved the eternal Son from before the foundation of the world, shed that love upon you, his children. May Christ, who by his incarnation gathered into one things earthly and heavenly, fill you with joy and peace. And may the Spirit, by whom Mary became the God-bearer, give you grace and courage to carry the light and love and wonder of Christ into whatever next year holds for you, for us. Amen.